We are going to have an open mic so that we'll pass the microphone around so that people can share their thoughts, their memories. But I thought before we do that, maybe we should have a moment or two of silence so that we can all think about Heather, remember Heather, commemorate her in each in our own way. So, please. Okay, so we have a microphone. Who would like to volunteer to be first? Desi? Okay. And let me say, Desi was another one of those heroes. Desi is our niece. She is a nurse. She was with us when Heather passed away. She was tender, loving, and compassionate. So it's really great that she is the first person to share her thoughts with us. And one other thing, before you talk, Logan's paintings are shown over here. So for anyone that doesn't know, Logan is a talented artist. Take a look at his artwork. It's just beautiful. So Desi.
At least I'll be at the comfort of my own table. So there's a lot I can say about Heather, and it's going to be really hard to get through this without crying. I grew up with Heather and Logan by my side. Kathy is my mom, who is Debbie and Shelley's sister. And Heather, Logan, and I spent every summer together. We would build houses in the back of Debbie's apartment. In fact, we had a playhouse that it took us all summer to build, and we'd go around the neighborhood collecting wood, and I'll tell you what, I'm surprised none of us got tetanus. But those are some of the most amazing experiences that I got to experience with Heather and Logan. On top of that, I lived with Heather right when I moved back to Utah from Florida. And I think some of our best times were spent in silence. I was kind of a free spirit, and my room was decorated in a lot of color. I had Christmas lights hung up around the top of my room, and I had different colored fabrics all over my walls. And Heather loved to come in there and just sit. And I feel lucky that I got to spend those months as her roommate. And she never judged, and she was always supportive. And then I decided halfway through my life to go to nursing school, and some of my courses I always asked Heather. In fact, her and I wrote a story about I took a class on disabilities as a prerequisite, and I had to create a story, and Heather helped me write it, and it was a little girl named Katie with a red bow and short arms. And I got to write it from her experience, and what I will say is that I was really lucky to be able to stand by her side these last few months and help her in her weakest moments. It was very beautiful. And I know that she would love it here tonight, and that she wishes she was here. She is here, but she loved gathering with her family. It was one of her favorite things, and she would not miss it. And so I'm just lucky to be here tonight and celebrate her life.
I'm Steve Corey, and I'm Heather's best friend. Of course, you all are also. I worked for the Department of Workforce Services in the last 10 years of my career as an employment counselor. And I had seen Debbie and Heather and Logan give presentations at libraries here, besides knowing about the work that they did with the University of Utah at libraries. And I thought, well, that's perfect for our environment. Employment counselors, but also a lot of social work programs for people who needed them. And so I made arrangements for them to come down and speak to my office. And I just cannot tell you adequately about the impact that they had on the workers there. In that environment, it's all about, or it can be all about, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and making sure that, because they're all governmental programs and they're all funded and you have to get them all right or you lose funding. And it's very easy to get caught up in that. And I thought, that's the wrong thing to be thinking about on a day-to-day basis. So in came that trio, and they just slew everybody. One thing we realized really quickly was we didn't put out anywhere near enough Kleenex because they spoke right to the heart of what all of those people, what led them into careers, into low-paying careers of trying to help people. And they came in, the three of them, immediately and had a huge impact on them. So I just wanted to paint that picture of another facet of people that they had a tremendous impact on. One personal thing, I remember one time I got a call from Heather. I thought, well, this is kind of odd, Heather calling me, you know, that's great, but and she said, well, we should have dinner, and we need to visit. And I knew, just like you mentioned, that this was not about chit-chat. And so I took her some dinner, went out to her apartment, and with no real expectations, but honestly, 4 hours later, I said, I think you need to get some sleep, and I know I do, but it was just the best experience, and I'll cherish that memory of just sitting and visiting with Heather as long as I can remember.
My name is Lori. I'm Lynn's little sister, Lee's big sister. So, Lynn and Heather had a very special bond, and part of that bond was their love of music. And some of my fondest memories of when we would come to visit Debbie and Lynn, come from Montana to visit Debbie and Lynn, after dinner, we would convince Lynn to go and play the piano for us. And Heather would sit, and I would watch Heather watching Lynn, because she would watch his hands move, and you could just tell she loved it. She just loved it. So when Heather learned how to play the piano, which was an amazing accomplishment, as you saw, just amazing. I was so thrilled for her. I cried because I knew how much it meant to her. And it gave her so much joy, just so much joy. I just know that Heather would be is so happy tonight to know that 9 of the songs as the background music on the video, Lynn is playing the piano for her to honor her, share this love with her. So Heather, play on, sweetheart. Play to your heart's delight.
Well, I will just mention that my sister is a very accomplished pianist herself.
Mom told you to say that.
So who else would like to say something?
My name is Chris Lintek, and I'm a co-minister at the Inner Light Center, and you saw the talk she gave to us. Before that, her and Debbie had also come at one point and presented the 8 Fingers, 8 Toes. I don't know how many they sold that day, but I'm sure they sold a lot. But that talk that you just saw, you could hear a pin drop in that place. Everybody was just fascinated and astounded, and she affected us. We may have been listening with our ears, but our hearts were so touched. And after that, I became friends with Heather for just off and on seeing her, but I was just amazed by what she had accomplished, how much she loved. And I was fortunate enough to meet Thomas, and I think he was probably the luckiest thing in the whole world. So, and I think he knew it. So, I was just so happy when I saw her posting on Facebook and posting her poems and posting the video of her playing the piano. And I could not but help share on my postings her videos and her talks and her writing. And so she still inspires me today, and she has moved me to write too deeply and see things differently. So here's to you, Heather. You're still alive.
My name is Jessica Munson, and I grew up with Logan and Heather and Desi a lot. I dated Logan for the majority of our high school life. I was even younger. But Heather was like a bigger sister to me than I never had. Debbie was my second mom, sometimes my first time mom, because I trusted her more than my own mom. And the text that I got the message from her directly that her diagnosis, she sent me all the notes, the audio, so I couldn't bear it for a while. I actually ignored it. And I didn't know how to grasp it. I faced terminal illness in my family. I have 2 cousins with cystic fibrosis that both passed from that disease, from pneumonia that took them. So I've seen it early on in my own life, what these kind of diagnoses come from. So after about a couple weeks, I was like, I'm slow at work, I work from home, I'm gonna jump into it. And I completely ignored my job the entire time, and I just dove right in like Heather would have done. There's a reason why she sent it to me, and I still don't understand to this day, but she wanted me to hear it straight from her in an electronic way. Because the only connection we had in the last couple of years is through Facebook. But fast forward a couple of years when I went to Carmilla with the family and traveled all on my own with my husband, and we made a little weekend out of it to be inattentive with Logan's documentary. I just found out I was expecting, and I didn't want to like take their joy and excitement, but I wanted to make sure that Heather knew, because she's my big sister. Her eyes lit up when I told her that I was just found out I was expecting. Her hugs, her embraces were always warm. You knew everything was going to be okay when you got a hug from Heather. And so Heather, to you, I love you dearly. You may be physically gone, but you're always here. I love you.
Anybody else? Ryan is Desi's husband. Wonderful young man.
Thank you, Lynn. Hello, everyone. I am nobody. And I say that because compared to her, I am. A few years ago, I came into this family by meeting Desiree Duke here. I met this beautiful young woman after I'm retired Air Force, but at the time, I had decided to come back, put my brakes on my career, and be close to home. And wow, what a decision that was, because it changed everything. And I think we can all relate to a crossroads. We come to it more than once or twice in our lifetime. So for me, one of the first things I was drawn to Desiree ended up drawing me into this entire family. And I think I can see some head shaking when I say this. They are all very extremely genuine. If I could describe one word for Heather and for all the women and the men in this family, they are infectious. When they look at you, when they smile at you, when they embrace you. I got a hug from Heather a few times, and it was great. Unfortunately, I did not have as much time with Heather as you all have, and I will have to live with that. And that bothers me, because I took her presence and everyone else's here in this family for granted, that we'll get together at Thanksgiving. We'll get together at Christmas. But that's not guaranteed, is it? If there's one thing we can learn from this, there are a lot of sports figures, there are a lot of famous people that when they die, we mourn them and we forget them. And we talk about them every now and then. But Heather, she will go on to inspire us all from today forever because of our experiences with them, either growing up, birth, mother and father, and step-parents and family, and moving on from there. And it's been very humbling for me. I was invited with them to be with Heather in her last few hours, and I will tell you, it is one of the most life-changing experiences for me, and I'm very thankful for that. And as I said, this family is amazing all around, genuine people, and I thank everyone for that. And I don't see everyone having a toast. I would like to do a toast to Heather and everyone, but I don't see everyone with a glass. But we can do the handheld thing, but thank you, Debbie, Lynn, for all of this, and definitely Logan and the rest of the family. I appreciate it, and we're all thankful for the lessons we learned from this family. And
anybody else?
So I'm a friend of Heather's, and actually, we didn't actually talk much about her more nerdy things, kind of friendship around her love of IRC, when she got her first modem, Big Bang Theory, things like that. And another thing we talked a lot about is, we bonded over kind of social challenges that she had, and navigating a world where she was minority in a lot of ways. And I pulled up a little quote that I wanted to share that she wrote to me that I thought was really sweet about people who, how she navigated stigma, people who have prejudice and discrimination toward people who are different. And she wrote, and she didn't respond with anger, that I don't see anger as the direction to go in. If a person is prejudiced and discriminatory, I just see the person who is prejudiced as ignorant, afraid, or hurt. With them not having the ability to expand their perspective and love differences that they don't understand or scare them, they are suffering. If they felt unconditional love for themselves and others, they would act differently. Lack of love is suffering. Sure, I'm mad about the results that occur from their ignorance and frustrated by their ignorance, but I can't spend energy being mad at people. It's useless to me. If the person can know what we know and feel love in the expanding perspective about differences as we feel it, they wouldn't be ignorant and afraid anymore. How to help them know and to find that love is the challenge. Finding love for ourselves is the biggest challenge everyone is dealing with on various levels. Being angry at a person for not knowing isn't going to help them know, but anger will hurt ourselves. And when you feel anger, you can't feel love. So I thought that was sweet, and I wanted to share it. And also, my dad is the one who adopted Thomas. He also has autism, and so Thomas is very spoiled and very in love. He does have a lot of automated things now. He has an automated feeder. He's got an automatic robot litter box. He learned all of the tricks from Debbie, taught him everything that Heather trained him to do. And he's doing that with Thomas, who's very mentally stimulated, cuddles with him constantly, and is absolutely obsessed with his lap, and just won't get off of it. And my dad gave into it, and just knows that's where he lives now, even when he's eating. So.
There's a lot of irony in this because I have social anxiety disorder and I do not like being up in front of people. But I thought of something else that I thought I just needed to say and about Heather. Over the years, and I have known the family for a long time, I've shared their story and her story with friends and family again and again as examples and how grateful I am to know them. And when I was invited to the book signing and got reconnected with the family, again, I told people about that and what a special story they all had to tell. And when they came to DWS. But then also, more recently, when Heather posted on Facebook, kind of announced to the public world that she was dying. And I was so struck by that, the eloquence of it. And so I can't tell you how many people that I shared that with, whether I had them go to that page or read that to them, and they were all touched by that. And so in this idea of Heather touching so many people, it's not just the people that she touched directly, but there's a domino effect, a ripple effect. And I'm sure that most of you have done the same thing, where you share that message of love from Heather. And I just, and you probably have done it with your children, and I hope that they do it with their children. And I would just challenge all of you to keep spreading Heather's message.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, for being with us, remembering Heather with us. And I see that there's still a lot of food over there. There are drinks. So I will leave you with my mother's favorite words. Have more, eat lots.
Within every one of us to be wise, by and by, open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise, by and by. Open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise, by and by. Open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise, by and by. Open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise, by and by. Open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise, by and by. Open up both your eyes. We can learn, know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by